The news that Taehyung has become the new ambassador for Paradise City has brought back to mind one of the most talked about moments of recent years, the run challenge that Taehyung and Jungkook filmed at that very hotel. Just a few days ago marked 3 years since Taehyung and Jungkook shared that video that captivated the entire community, a clip that became iconic not only for its aesthetic but also because it simply and directly captured a private moment between them. The video bore their personal stamp, directed by Taehyung and edited by Jungkook. It wasn't just another challenge, but a glimpse into their daily routine together at one of the most romantic and exclusive hotels, filmed right after Jungkook returned from Qatar. It was a spontaneous recording that would likely have remained just a memory between them had they not decided to share it. In it, Taehyung wore a Celine hoodie, a gift Jungkook had brought back from Qatar. It was a small but significant detail for those who closely follow their professional and personal relationship. Today, 3 years later, the situation takes on a new meaning. Taehyung is the official ambassador of the same hotel where they filmed that unforgettable moment, while Paradise City was also the main sponsor of Jungkook's Golden, the Moments exhibition in New York. This coincidence reinforces the idea of how their paths, both individually and together, continue to intertwine naturally in important projects. It's impossible not to think about how nothing happens without a reason and how each event seems connected to another. Many fans feel nostalgic for Taikook, missing seeing them together in live performances or presentations where they used to laugh with a naturalness that needed no explanation. The way they looked at each other, the trust they conveyed, and the energy they shared were details that fans instantly recognized, clear signs of a genuine connection that didn't seek attention but also didn't try to hide. In recent days, the strain of seeing Jungkook used in certain media narratives, or how both he and Taehyung receive unjustified criticism, has also become evident. Despite this, their supporters maintain that these phases don't last forever. History shows that they have both known how to return at the right moments, with solid projects and results that speak for themselves. That's why many fans insist on the importance of patience. Taikook, as an artistic duo and as a personal bond, has always shown consistency in their appearance, communication, and progress. It's not about forcing interpretations, but about observing how each step fits into the next. Their shared journey has demonstrated more than once that they know when and how to present themselves, and that the time they seem to take almost always has a purpose. Talking about Taikook's love has never been easy because it's not something that can be summed up in a single word. Their relationship, viewed through the years, is perceived as a broad array of gestures, glances, and moments that demonstrate a constant connection. It's a type of bond that, although many only see it from the outside, has become significant for those who follow their journeys. The way they influence, support, and reflect each other is what makes so many fans interested in their story. Taikook has always naturally shown that they remain in each other's thoughts, even when physically separated. A recent example of this was when Jungkook, during a live broadcast, seemed focused on his surroundings, but his demeanor revealed something deeper. His mind was attuned to Taehyung's voice, presence, and memory. He didn't say it directly, but his expression conveyed that he was listening to and feeling something familiar even before singing. This detail became evident when Jungkook calmly closed his eyes and began to set the mood for performing songs he hadn't chosen at random. His concentration seemed to indicate he was connecting with a specific memory, one directly related to Taehyung. It was a subtle way of showing how much certain shared moments meant to him, moments that resurfaced when he sang songs that were part of their shared history. Among those songs were Falling and Never Not, 2 tracks directly linked to Taehyung and Jungkook. For some, they might be simple musical choices, but those familiar with the background understand that they carry important memories. Falling, for example, is tied to that Harry Styles concert in Los Angeles they both attended, appearing relaxed and walking through the crowd without a care for the public attention. That day, they were seen close, holding hands and sharing natural hugs, making no effort to hide their comfort with each other. It was a moment that stood out for its spontaneity. Taehyung and Jungkook behaved like two people enjoying a special night, setting aside any pressure of what people might interpret. Many fans remember that event as one of Taekook's most free and authentic moments, where they showed themselves as they truly were, without needing to explain anything. That's why hearing Jungkook sing Falling brings back that specific memory. The other song, Never Not, is associated with the first and only concert Taikook attended together, the one where they shared one of the most talked about moments due to their evident closeness. It's known that on that occasion, their interaction was so natural and intimate that security and organizers had trouble managing the situation, as their presence generated excitement throughout the venue. Deep glances, gestures of complicity, and an atmosphere that reflected the connection that has always been part of their public image were captured that day. During that concert, many fans noticed how they exchanged short phrases with each other, how they looked at each other in silence, and how they seemed to enjoy the music from a shared space that only they fully understood. That's why Never Not has become a symbol of that memory, a representation of a unique moment that could hardly be repeated with the same ease. Jungkook's choice of these two songs in particular wasn't perceived as a coincidence by those who know the story behind each one. Rather, it seemed like a reminder of a period that remains important to both of them and that fans identify as part of their shared narrative. Jungkook not only remembered those moments but relived them through the music, allowing those watching to feel them as well. In this way, Jungkook managed to connect the present with significant fragments of the past. He didn't do so through grand pronouncements, but through a carefully chosen repertoire and a way of performing that reflected serenity. Taikook, as a duo and as a personal bond, has had very visible moments and more discreet ones, but their story remains present through details like these. Discussing what many Taikook fans have observed for years requires order and clarity, because it's not just a series of isolated gestures, but a continuous pattern that has been repeated across different stages, settings, and situations. What's striking isn't grand pronouncements, but details that remain constant regardless of the context. There's a particular way Jungkook and Taehyung interact that isn't replicated with other people, a way of looking at each other, seeking each other out, and approaching each other that has been seen both in professional recordings and in completely casual moments. This is precisely what has reinforced the idea of naturalness in their relationship. It's not something staged for the camera, nor an odd reaction resulting from working in a group. It's a dynamic that repeats itself whether they're surrounded by staff, thousands of spectators, or simply engaged in everyday activities. Jungkook, for example, often shows very obvious attention to Taehyung, an attention that isn't manifested with the same intensity or frequency toward other members or people around him. This is one of the reasons many fans have reached this conclusion: if a behavior persists even when no one expects it, it's most likely a genuine habit. These kinds of moments have been observed in various situations: live streams, concerts, variety shows, behind the scenes, and even in spaces where there was no intention of any particular interaction. In all these scenarios, Jungkook and Taehyung end up glancing at each other or moving closer without being asked. Sometimes Jungkook initiates the gesture, other times, Taehyung does. But regardless of who takes the first step, the other's reaction is always immediate, as if they were both alert to each other's every move. For many fans, this constant repetition creates a narrative thread that connects events from different years. What happens at one moment seems to complement what happens months later, as if each small gesture builds a continuity that remains unbroken over time. When fans say that nothing happens without a reason, they're not speaking from excessive excitement, but from observation. Their actions remain consistent despite schedule changes, breaks, individual promotions, and even long periods where they aren't seen together as often. That's why there's so much nostalgia among Taikook fans. It's not just about wanting to see them appear on the same broadcast or participate in the same project. The nostalgia stems from remembering the naturalness they displayed when laughing together, effortlessly sharing spaces, or interacting spontaneously. There was a kind of synchronicity in their movements that was noticeable even in the simplest live streams. When fans mentioned the confidence they exuded, they're not speaking from an exaggerated romantic perspective, but as a practical way of describing how easily they connected.